Today, I'm joined by Suzanne Jolie, my teacher and one half of the creative duo behind Models Doing Ballet. And she's going to help demystify ballet makeup, both for class and the stage. In this conversation, we talk about best practices for wearing makeup in the studio, simple ways to look polished without feeling overdone, and how to even out redness or breakouts. Then we dive into stage makeup, how to apply it like a professional, the essential products for a fail-safe makeup kit, and how to modify your look based on the performance setting. If you've ever stood in front of the mirror with no idea where to start, this conversation with Suzanne and her stage makeup toolkit in the show notes will leave you feeling prepared and confident for class or the stage. Let's get into it. Hello, Suzanne. Thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to have you on the podcast. This is so fun.
Are you kidding? I am so excited to be here and nerd out on makeup with you. I can't wait.
So I also too, it's so funny. I feel like I have to say this at the onset. It's super weird for me to just call you Suzanne because since you are my ballet teacher, I feel like I should always call you Miss Suzanne.
Miss Suzanne. I know, you absolutely can.
So for those who don't know, Suzanne is one of my lovely, wonderful teachers, and it is so fun to have her on in this capacity because you guys, if you're not watching and you can't see her face, you probably know her as half of the creative team behind Models Doing Ballet, and then you also have a big Instagram account in your own right. So it's super fun to have you because it's every time I post stuff with you in it, everyone's like, "Oh my god, you know her?"
Stop
She's your
it. I
teacher?
love this. Hannah, this affirmation is beautiful. Can we do this all the time?
And I can confirm. I always tell people, I'm like, yeah, she is just as cool in person as she seems on the
Sure.
internet. So awesome.
I love you and you're super cool. And I'm just so glad you found me. And the fact that we live in the same town is bonkers. Like,
Wild.
city.
I know.
Wild.
Yeah, it is so crazy in the universe how that happened. So fun to have you on to talk about this. We are going to be talking all about makeup today, and we're going to kind of divide it into two parts of like class makeup and stage makeup. So again, if you're not watching, I highly recommend watching this one on YouTube because there is visuals to go with it. So you as someone who's been doing ballet your whole life and as a teacher would be the perfect person to speak about this because I know a lot of people when they're starting ballet and you have a lot of nervousness taking your first class of like what's normal, what do I wear? Do people wear makeup? Don't people wear makeup? Like I don't know. So maybe for someone who's just starting ballet, can you kind of address this of like is it normal to wear makeup to ballet class?
Yes, I personally cannot take a class without wearing makeup. For me, makeup makes me feel polished and put together. And I have tried it before to take a class with no makeup, and I didn't feel right. So yeah, for me, my makeup is just as an important part of my uniform for class as like the cute leotard that I'm wearing. You know what I mean? It goes hand in hand for me. So yes, whenever you feel
Yeah.
you should when you go to ballet, you should in my opinion, you should feel beautiful and feel good. And if makeup is something that makes you feel good and makes you feel confident, absolutely wear it to ballet.
Yeah, and, like, you won't be judged because I think sometimes people wonder because I think a lot of people feel that way of, like, makeup makes them feel a little bit more polished and a little more confident, but
Yeah.
maybe they worry that if they show up with makeup that is a little more noticeable that people are gonna be like, "Whoa, okay, that's kinda extra," but it's really not in ballet, like, I don't think anyone really judges.
No, I've never encountered that. And everybody's different. In my adult classes, there's some adults that wear makeup, me included, and then some that don't. Like I said, it's just whatever you're comfortable with. Whatever. It's so important to feel good.
So what adjustments if people do feel like they wanna wear makeup to class and they feel like that's gonna be what makes them feel more confident, do you have recommended adjustments that people would make to maybe their, like, I don't know what to call it, street makeup, normal makeup, work makeup that would make it a little more, like, ballet class friendly?
Me personally, I like to everything to be really light. So I don't wear a foundation or a powder. I just do like a tinted moisturizer. I do color correcting under my eyes because they're always purple underneath, no matter how much sleep I get. I do just like a brow gel, like a tinted brow gel. I like to use like a lip stain so you don't have any lipstick smearing as you're sweating. I don't do any blush because I'm red by the time we get to the second tendu combinations. Like, I have a natural blush going, so I skip the blush for class. And then black mascara, sometimes I do a little bit of eyeliner. You could definitely switch to a waterproof eyeliner and a waterproof mascara. I sweat a lot and I don't even use waterproof products and it's always fine, so and you know what? A little bit of smear, it shows that you've been working hard. I kind of like it.
Yeah. Not the end of the world, but I'm the same. I
No.
really like, tinted moisturizer for class. Like, I don't
Yeah.
do as much like a full foundation. I started recently using Merit Beauty's tinted moisturizer, and I am loving it for ballet specifically. I feel like it's such a good level of coverage. Like, it almost just evens out your skin tone.
Totally. I use a NYX product it's actually they call it a concealer, but it's really hydrating. So it goes on just like a tinted moisturizer. And then sometimes I skip that and I literally just do color correctors. Cinema Secrets makes a beautiful little palette of different color correctors. So you've got a color corrector for redness or a color corrector for like purple
Mhm.
blue. So I do that one under my eyes. And then if I have like a lot of redness that day, I just blend the color correcting into the red areas and it just evens out the face enough. You want your skin to be able to breathe, right?
Do you have, like, a favorite lip product? I know you mentioned liking to use stain for class. Have you found one that you really like?
I love it's by Wonder Skin. I use the shade Romance, and I actually just line my lips with it, like lip liner. So I line the lips, it takes a little bit to dry, you rub it off, and then I just do like a Burt's Bees, like the pomegranate, like tinted balm. So it just gives you a nice pinky color, but you don't have to worry about it smearing because it's not a lipstick.
Mm.
But I will say my favorite lip combination, my favorite nude pink lipstick combination that I do also sometimes wear to class is I use MAC, Mehr lipstick, Mehr, and Soar lip liner, Soar. So Mehr and Soar by MAC Cosmetics is my favorite just go-to neutral pink nude lip, and it looks good on everyone.
So, if someone is looking for a good concealer option for class, do you have a favorite?
I do. I love NYX, NYX. It's called the Bear With Me Concealer Serum. And so the formulation is
Ooh.
just like what it sounds like. It goes on really hydrating, moisturizing without being greasy at all. And so even though it's a concealer, I use it on my whole face. So I just do like a couple dabs and then I take my beauty blender. And if you're going to use any kind of makeup sponge, make it a beauty blender, the name brand. It is so superior. It's all I use. And so I take the concealer and I just pull it down over any parts where I look a little red, but it's super lightweight and really effective. Highly recommend.
I wanna hear your thoughts on why the beauty blender specifically, because I've always wondered. I'm totally that person that's, like, cheap and has grabbed the ones at, like, the dollar store or whatever, and I've always
Oh,
wondered,
no,
like,
no,
is
Hannah.
is the
Hannah, no.
is the name brand, is it really better? Like, is it really,
Yes.
really better for the money? Okay.
Yes. Honestly, I remember when this came out, and now it's been a long time, but I was one of the first because I work in the industry, like, I work in
Yeah.
TV and film a lot, and a makeup artist had it, and I was like, "Hold on, what is that?" I think it's just how it's made, it must be the materials, even though it all the sponges look the same now, just the way it goes on, the way it's really soft. You wet it, you take your beauty blender and you run it under water and then you squeeze all the water out. I think some people forget that and then it's really hard. So it's just a lot softer and more pliable than a normal makeup sponge. And the way you apply it is you bounce it on your skin. So I put the product on my face. So I'll put my concealer serum on my face and then I'll take the beauty blender, the thick side. The beauty blender is shaped like a little egg. It's got like a little precision tip and then like a little egg shape at the bottom, and you bounce it on. Sorry, with your beauty blender, you always want to dry it so it fully dries. Like you don't want to just put it on your counter. So there's these little stands you can get, like little like metal stands that you put the beauty blender on top and it just sits there so it dries before your next use.
Well, and that's a perfect segue into what I was gonna embarrassingly
Awesome.
admit, because I knew you were supposed to kind of wet them. And so I would wet them
Oh, no.
and then I would use
Oh,
it
no.
and I would, make sure it was pretty dried out. But then it came in like a little case, but in my defense, it had little air holes in the case. So like I thought we were good. And for a
Oh,
while we
no.
were. And then the other
Oh,
day
no.
I went to use it and it had what looked like mildew, like
No.
black
No.
soup.
No, Hannah.
I was like,
No.
"Oh my
No.
goodness." So I threw it away. I didn't continue to use it. Okay, I didn't continue to use it, but it was a
Okay.
little bit gross, and it made me wonder
Y
if, like, it had just become visible, but it was probably gross the whole time.
You're just smearing black mold on your face for months.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was a little bit worried may have been
Well,
happening, so
and the beauty blender, you can buy a, cleaner with it. So, if you're gonna get the beauty blender, definitely get the cleaner too, Hannah. I'm glad that you didn't get some
like
sort of, like, infection on your face.
like, in my eye from, like, having it
Yeah.
near my I know, I'm like, "Oh gosh,
No.
yeah, we're okay." But I did throw it out, so that is
Good.
perfect because I am in the market for one, and maybe I will just suck it up and get the real one
No,
because
there's no maybe. You're gonna do it.
yeah.
You're gonna trust me. It'll
Almost.
You deserve it. Oh, this is jumping around, but I will say when it comes to stage makeup, and I'm sorry if this makes it a nightmare for you to edit, but when it
No,
comes to
let's go for it. Let's do
let's
stage
free
makeup.
flow. Free flow. Like here we go. Okay, so when it comes to stage makeup, I highly recommend getting the best quality products that you can afford. Especially when you're an adult, you don't have that teenage skin. So it really does make a difference in the quality of your products. And if your, budget is an issue, the things that I would recommend kind of splurging on higher end products would be foundation for stage. I love MAC. MAC is
Mhm.
probably my favorite brand for stage makeup. I personally use their face and body foundation. It's a liquid and it's buildable. So you put the first layer on and it won't seem like full coverage, but you build it up and it is gorgeous and flawless. And if you really want to go heavy, 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 like say you're in a really big house, they make a pressed cream. Back in the day, we would refer to this as grease paint, right? That's what ballerinas
Yeah.
used to wear. Literally, it was called grease paint, and this has that really opaque. When it comes to stage makeup, you want your foundation to be super, super opaque, like a doll. And you always want to make sure that you pull the foundation down your neck so that you
Yeah.
don't look like you're wearing a mask.
Yeah, and let's get into with stage makeup too, because I know a lot of adult dancers, which I'm loving seeing. A lot of adults are getting way more performance opportunities now, and so it's getting much more common to see adults getting to be on stage, and studios are putting on showcases and things like that. So I know, for a lot of adults, it might be their first time ever having to apply stage makeup. So can you kind of talk about like what is the thought process behind like why stage makeup needs to be so heavy, why it needs to be so much more exaggerated, like what's going on there?
Yeah, the main thing is that number 1, you are under really heavy lights. And those kind of lights that are used to light a stage production completely wash you out. So it literally, if you don't have any makeup on, you look like you have no features. Like there's no features to be seen. So you're washed out. Number 2, people are also seeing you from a very great distance, depending on the size of the theater. So without makeup, your face is going to completely disappear. For me, stage makeup is just as important as any element of learning the art of ballet. I feel like when you study ballet, yes, you go to class, but you also should know the choreographers and the great dancers and the ballet history and the composers. And a classic ballet stage makeup is just as important to know.
Yeah, because I would love to even know for you growing up, like what was your introduction to stage makeup?
Well, I was really lucky. My first teacher, Miss Allison, really taught us the art form as a whole. And she had us do our first makeup lesson probably at 10 years old. And I
Wow.
remember specifically the list. It said white grease pencil, brown grease pencil, black eyeliner, red on the blue side lipstick. So that's really important. When you do the red lip, it needs to be on the blue side. So she made this list and she taught us how to do our makeup. And then I would go away during the summers. Houston Ballet, ABT, they always include a makeup class. And I was just in general interested in makeup. So I was doing my makeup, as soon as my mom would let me, which was really young. She was great that way. She let me play around with makeup from a very young age.
Have you been craving more time in the studio and more connection with other adult dancers? If so, I have great news for you. This episode is sponsored by Label Active, a dance and activewear brand inspired by the artistry, discipline, and presence of dancers, and the host of the 2026 Adult Ballet Retreat. 5 full days of ballet classes and social activities designed specifically for adult dancers, taking place in Seattle, Washington, June 21st through the 26th. I've personally attended retreats hosted by this team multiple times, and it's always an unforgettable experience. There's nothing like spending a week surrounded by other adult dancers, immersed in your shared love of ballet, in a space that's supportive and encouraging. And this whole week is thoughtfully built around adults. The pacing, the coaching, the environment, and there's 3 levels to choose from. So whether you're a beginner or have been dancing for years, this event is for you. I'm so excited to be attending again this year, and I would genuinely love to dance with you in person. Registration closes on April 15th, so if you're interested, don't wait. And because you're part of the after-class community, you can use code AFTERCLASS100 and get $100 off your registration. All the details and links to register are in the show notes. If you've been dreaming of a ballet experience that fills your cup, I cannot recommend this retreat enough. Hope to see you there. So for an adult dancer who maybe is going to be doing their first performance this coming year, what would be stage makeup 101?
You want a really matte foundation. So you want it to be completely opaque, full coverage. You don't want any kind of shine to it. It's got to be really flat. You want darkened eyebrows. I like to use shadow to darken my brows. I find that shadow has more pigment than even the best brow pencils. You want a neutral palette. So a neutral palette of like browns and creams. And you want to stay away from anything shimmery. Same thing as the foundation. You want matte eyeshadow shades because those are what translate the best on stage. You need black eyeliner. Of course, the ballerina eyeliner is iconic. So I like to use a liquid is my favorite. I like to use eyeliner that has a brush tip. My favorite right now is NYX Epic Link Liner. I find that the brush is much easier to work with. If you make a mistake, it's easier to clean. Here's probably the most important element that really makes stage makeup pop is you need the perfect red lip. The perfect red lip. And you want to look for a red that is on the blue side versus like a salmon or orangey kind of red. You want to look for a really vibrant red on the blue side. My favorite that I wear currently, I wear Cherry by MAC Cosmetics lip liner, and then I pair it with the Kylie Cosmetics Red Velvet, which is a color stay formula, so it doesn't smudge. But if you're doing more on a budget, NYX also makes an incredible lip it's called the Lingerie XXL, and the shade is Stamina or Untamable. Both of those shades are really nice. So, and I feel so weird because I recommend it to all my kids, and it's like XXX lingerie. You're like, but it looks. I know. I'm just like, can you tell your mom to buy you this XX lingerie lipstick, please? It always looks good on any, like we have dancers of all skin tones, and every picture I see them in, every stage production I watch of our studio, their lips look fantastic. So lipstick and then eyelashes. You absolutely, for stage, you have to wear false eyelashes. My favorite brand has been and will always be Ardell. You want to look for a lash that flares out at the edges of your eyes. So lashes come in all different shapes. Some of them are like all the same size, And you wanna look for lashes that flare out at the end, because with stage makeup, what you're doing is we're trying to open everything up. So
Yeah.
the eyes are opening up, the features are opening up. So the flare on the end really helps with that. Oh, also, this is some of the best lash advice I can give you. A lash is exactly like a point shoe. When you
Oh.
open a brand new pair of eyelashes, they are stiff, right? They're not formed yet. Once you start wearing them, they start to form to your eye shape. And if you take care of them, you can use the same pair of lashes over and over and over and over again because they break in. And as long when you take them off, and this is another really important tip, ladies, when you take your lashes off, always put them back in the container. But I really recommending get a cute like little case. Like you can get little eyelash cases on Amazon and put them back in the case because they
That
break in just like a point shoe. Your lashes break in, and then they're so much easier to apply because you go to put them on, they're already formed to your eye. The way lashes come, they're pretty long, and almost nobody has eyes that are that humongous. So you're gonna want to trim your lashes. I have big eyes, okay? And even me, I still have to trim my lashes down quite a bit. So when you're looking at a pack of lashes, okay, so say you're looking at a pack of lashes, the lash on your left goes on your right eye. And I wish they would label
okay.
it. So I'll say that
Yeah.
again because I know not everybody can see me. But the lash when you're looking at it that's on your left goes on your right eye and vice versa. When you cut your lash, I like to cut it from the inside. So what I do is I take the lash off the strip and it'll have like a little stickiness on it. I place it on my eye and I can kind of gauge how much lash is poking out. And I just kind of eyeball it. I use a little pair of beauty scissors, like sharp
Mhm.
little scissors, and I snip off the excess. So I do that for both eyes, and I just like to cut from the inside because if you're wearing flared lashes, you don't want to cut off the long lashes at the
Yeah.
end. And then when you take them off, very carefully, you can pick the glue off the band. So you just
Oh,
pick off
okay.
the excess glue and then you just replace it. And you know what?
Okay.
Sometimes tragic results happen where you will rip your lash in half. So if you're going to pick off the glue, just be really gentle. Oh, and be really gentle when you're taking them out of the container too. I use little tweezers and I gently take an
Ooh.
edge and start to like pull it like a little by little. Like don't go and just try to rip it off because especially the
Yeah.
Ardell lashes, which have that thin band, you're going to ruin them. And it's so sad because lashes are expensive. They're not cheap. So a lip and a lash, and then you can't be without eyeliner. So if you asked me, okay, you can only wear 3 items of makeup. That's it. I would do lips, liner, and lashes. To me, that's
Yeah.
most important because the eyes and your mouth is how you express yourself on stage. We're not speaking. We're speaking with our body and with our facial expressions. So eye makeup and lip makeup enhances all of that and makes it so that you can be seen far in the back. So the very iconic ballerina makeup, and again, I know you can't see me, you do top winged liner, but then you do a bottom winged liner. The under eye liner, what you do is you do not apply it close to your eyeball. Because if you do it really close, that's actually just going to make your eyes look smaller. So I leave a little bit of space. I go from the mid of my eye. For me personally, my eye shape going any farther just kind of closes it off. So I go from the middle of my eye and I do almost a perfectly straight line out. A lot of dancers make the mistake when they're first learning how to do their makeup. They kind of try to connect the bottom to the top and end up with this kind of like little fishtail looking shape. And again, from stage, that just closes your eyes off. So you're gonna have a significant amount of space in between the top liner and the bottom liner. And I'm gonna give you my secret weapon right now for stage makeup. A white grease pencil. I line underneath my brow, I line the corners of my eye, and then I line in between the top and bottom black eyeliner. And then you'll look very stripy, but you want to blend out the grease, and you can just use your finger or a brush. I do both. And you blend it out. And I actually, now that I think about it, I should have done one side with it and one side without it, because I am telling you, the difference is
Yeah,
crazy. It's like,
yeah.
it's the secret to the iconic, glamorous ballerina makeup.
Do you change and play maybe with color or just the way you apply makeup depending on the role or the character that you're playing?
For the most part, I just call it classic stage makeup. I keep my makeup exactly the same. It's all neutrals. So the only vibrant colors are going to be my lipstick and my blush. You want a blush that is very vibrant, very pigmented. Again, you want a red on the blue side, and you want your blush to be matte as well. My favorite is Rose by MAC. When it comes to eyeshadow, I almost never do color eyeshadows, just because I find on stage they don't read. So if you spend all this time doing like a purple or a pink, it really doesn't read under the lights. So my standard is just a neutral palette with creams and different shades of brown. I do the lightest cream over my whole eye. So my eyelids all the way up to my brow bone. So I just have that nice flat base, and then I do a transition shade, so like a medium shade brown, and I windshield wipe in the crease of my eye with that color, and then I finish it with the darkest brown on the outer edges and blend them towards. Um,
Yeah,
I've just found it to be the it works for everything. And one thing, at least for me, that I stay away from, and I have my students stay away from, is shimmer. Because again, it's something that doesn't really read on stage. It doesn't really work. And I wouldn't do any highlighter. You don't want anything to be kind of shimmering, because it'll just look
okay.
like you're greasy.
I really love the idea of having like I don't wanna say basic because there's a lot that
No,
entails, but kind of a baseline
100%.
look,
Yeah.
because makeup can be expensive, and I totally agree with what you said. I think it's getting the best quality that you can afford is great, and so it can be an investment of money up front, but I think that's great for adults, especially who, maybe they don't wanna have to spend a bunch of money every time they do a performance. It's like, have a baseline kit that you can just use every time you do a show. So, like, I love this because I've seen stuff online of every different role, like, very different makeup, which if that, like, brings you joy, great, but I think it's also, like, it's not necessary. You can have a really great foundational face that you can do for all kinds of roles.
You're exactly right. It's perfectly stated. It's that standard, I just call it traditional stage makeup, because I
Yeah,
also use this makeup for musical theater stuff. And the only tweak I'll make for maybe musical theater is I'll take off the lower liner, because that does read very ballet. But you're right, and I love that you said your kit. You should get a dedicated kit that's just your stage makeup. Like, my stage makeup does not live with my everyday makeup. It lives in its own little, literally a caboodle, by the way. And I call it like learning your face. Like, you learn how to do your face. And if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, I found my face a long time ago, and I haven't changed a thing.
so now that we have done the stage makeup, we've done the full beat, how do we get it off?
I am so glad you asked this, because I have such a good hack and a secret weapon. Um,
Ooh,
so I start by carefully taking off my lashes and putting them back in the box or your little lash case. And then I like Clinique Wash the Day Away liquid. It's an eye and lip remover. So if you're using like the NYX or the Kylie, it's a color stay, and it's not going to come off with just any product. So that's my favorite. Look for liquid makeup remover. Makeup wipes, they're tough on your skin, and you have to you have to use a million of them to get your makeup off. So
yeah,
take off the lashes. I do the Clinique Take the Day Away on my eyeliner, mascara, and my lips. And then I go in with, wait for it, your grandma will know what this is, Pond's cold cream.
Nice.
Literally. Pond's cold cream. I just slather it all over my face, and sometimes I'll even use this I won't even use the eye makeup remover, I'll just use the Pond's cold cream on my lips and on my eyes, and you take a wet towel, it wipes off. It wipes
Oh,
immediately off,
wow.
and it leaves your skin super hydrated and super soft. And I have tried, I'm telling you, every product out there. My husband is a writer and he works for the Union Hair and Makeup Awards every year. So I get like the best of the best makeup. He brings me home gift bags. And I have tried all these other brands of
Yeah.
removing makeup. And I'm telling you, nothing as good as the Pond's Cold Cream. If you are performing in a show and you're doing multiple shows a weekend, multiple shows a day, it's really hard on your skin. It's
Yes.
a
Yeah.
lot for your skin, especially for adults. Again, like women, we lose our collagen, right? Like the skin is not how it was when we were teenagers. So the makeup really does affect your skin. So you want to make sure you're staying really, really hydrated. Always take all your makeup off, ladies. Take it off, take it all off. Never go to
Yeah.
bed with your makeup on, especially not your stage makeup. So you
Yeah.
want the cleanser to be really, really gentle since you're doing it multiple nights in a row. And the Pond's cold cream is exactly that.
One more quick question,
Yeah.
because I know some people listening, maybe they are doing performances, but I know for a lot of adult studios, they might do a show, but it's not in like a full theater. Maybe it's just in the studio or it's in like a setting where people will be a little bit closer. So what are the modifications, if any, that you would say like, "Okay, if you're doing a studio showcase where people are literally gonna be sitting right in front of you, here's
Yeah.
the tweaks that I would make to stage makeup."
That's a great question and a great point. Just do everything lighter, just less. So, not as much foundation, not as much blush, not as much eyeliner. And then definitely for up close and personal, go ahead and skip the bottom liner because it does look crazy up close. And if it's in the studio, I probably would skip the white grease pencil as well, but keep the lip. The lip is what really makes it that ballerina, glamorous, and, your mouth is so important to your expressions. You really wanna have that, but yeah, just use a little bit of a lighter touch, like, that's why I love the MAC Face and Body Foundation because it's buildable. So,
Yeah.
I can get it really, really, really opaque, where it's almost mask-like, or I just do a few less layers and it looks a little more natural that would lend itself well to studio performance setting. But
Oh,
don't
that's
skip
super
the
helpful.
lashes either.
Yeah.
Keep the
Don't
lashes.
skip your
The
lashes,
lashes
don't skip your lip. Yeah, I think that's helpful because I know there is kind of a wide variety of settings in which adult
Yeah,
dancers specifically are getting to perform. So,
yeah,
yeah, it's very helpful just to kind of scale it back depending on the size of your audience and their proximity to you is kind of a
exactly,
good rule of thumb. So, is there
exactly.
any last, like, pro tip, like, this is not to put all this pressure, so much pressure.
No.
There's one thing, but, like, is there anything that you haven't shared that you're like, "Okay, no, this is a pro tip that will really help you?"
I guess I'll say just don't be hard on yourself. It's just like anything else. Practice makes perfect. The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect in terms of stage. You're under heavy lights, you're far away from people. So don't stress out if it's a little messy or the lines aren't exactly the same. And you will have weird days where your makeup just doesn't want to go on. And I hope that it can become a really nice way to have a quiet moment, to meditate, to feel beautiful, to feel glamorous, because that is just as important as the steps you're gonna dance is how you feel.
Yeah, I think too, like, I don't know if this is just me, but, like, I remember when I was starting to do performances, I it helped me to practice doing my makeup not on a day that there was an actual
Yes.
show and I was
Oh my
stressed.
god. I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. Absolutely practice before the day because, yeah, when you're nervous, it's gonna affect your fine motor skills.
Oh my gosh, and, like, yeah, I mean, I remember there'd be shows where, you're kind of shaky a little bit,
Yeah.
especially if you're in a hurry, like, I've had weird things
Yes.
happen pre-show where something changes with the timeline, and so
Yeah.
there are times sometimes where you have less time than you thought you were gonna
Yeah.
have, and so it is really helpful to practice not under pressure. So that way when it's the day of, you can have a little more confidence. It's very helpful.
Oh my god, I could not agree more.
So I'm pretty sure that everyone listening probably already follows you, but in case they don't, where can they find you?
Follow me on Instagram. I've got a number of accounts. I'm one half of the account at Models Doing Ballet. If you haven't seen it, I'll just say enjoy the nightmare. My personal account is at Suzanne Jolie. And then I also have a podcast called Who Did This to Her? It's the official podcast of Models Doing Ballet. And that handle is just Who Did This to Her _podcast.
I'm gonna put all of that in the show notes, but, like, if you don't follow Models Doing Ballet and Suzanne, because you post super funny stuff on your personal account too, like, those 2 accounts are oh my gosh, it's such a good time.
Okay.
I mean, it's a horrendous time on Models Doing Ballet, but it's also a great time.
But see, that's the thing about Models Doing Ballet. We're here for you in dark times.
Yeah,
Like, we're here. The nightmare brings us together. We can laugh. For those of you that don't know, we feature advertising that uses models in a balletic way instead of hiring actual ballet dancers. And I want to
yeah,
be really clear that we are never bullying the models ever. We
yeah,
know that the models are just hired to be there, but when you want point shoes and when you want the ballerina experience, just hire a dancer.
yeah,
There are so many
totally.
beautiful ones. Hire dancers. That's our mission over at Models Doing Ballet. But thank you for your kind words. I love humor. Katie and I are both comedians, and there isn't a lot of humor in ballet, and
Yeah,
I think there needs to be. I don't think, although I do take it so seriously and love it so much that you can't take it too seriously. Like, it
totally.
should be fun and enjoyable and at the same time. So that means a lot, Hannah. Thank you.
Yeah, it's so much fun, and it brings so much joy and levity into what can be a space that takes itself
Yeah.
a little too seriously. So I love
Yeah.
it, and yeah, it's I mean, the point stuff is
Oh my god.
so traumatizing sometimes because I
We
honestly, because like, to your point, it's not the model's fault, but I'm like, it
no.
terrifies me sometimes that they take people that have never been in point shoes before, they hire them to model for a shoot, and they, like, slap point shoes from, like, Temu on these poor girls and tell them to go on their toes.
It's absolutely unhinged. Like, you would never take a model, put her in ice skates, shove her onto the ice, and be like, "Okay, do a triple axel." Like,
Yeah.
it's it it just hire a dancer, and that's why we one of the hashtags we always use is "Why the shoes?" Like, just get her a flat, get her a canvas flat. Why are we doing point? It it's dangerous. Hashtag SOS, hashtag who did this to her?
It's literally I love the who did this to her because it really is. I'm like, "This is,
Who did
like,
this?
abusive." I'm like, "Who
I know.
this poor woman who just got all excited because she booked a modeling job and she's like shows up ready to work and then they're like, "Oh, by the way, you're gonna be wearing foot
Yeah,
coffins and
yeah,
we're gonna ask you to be, you know, like doing
and they're not the
pirouettes."
right size. They're not the right size. They have, like, gift wrap ribbons or no ribbons. Sometimes they're just slipped on. Katie and I, we thought we were gonna run out of material when we started that account. Unfortunately, I can say that there's more material than ever. So, we will keep posting for as long
Oh
as
my
there is
gosh.
garbage out there.
It's so good. I know we just need to do a whole episode about
Yeah.
the Models in Ballet account
Oh, I would
because I
love
know
that.
I think adult dancers in particular love that account so much because it is bringing humor into the space, and I think humor automatically makes ballet feel a little more accessible, when it's
Yes.
like we're not taking it so seriously, and I love all of it. Like, there's so many aspects of it that I love. I love that it's advocating for
Yes.
hiring dancers. I
Yep.
love that it's bringing humor into the ballet space. There's just so many good things about it. So we'll do a whole episode on
Thank
Models Doing
you.
Ballet because it's
Yes.
so funny and so
So
great.
good.
Oh, well, thank you so, so much for taking the time to be here today and to share all of these amazing tips. I'm so excited for this one to go out into the world because I think it is a topic that can be really daunting for adult dancers, and you just gave us so many wonderful things. So thank you so much. It was great chatting.
It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to share it with a friend or leave a quick review. It really helps more adult dancers find the podcast. All the links and resources we mentioned today are waiting for you in the show notes. And if you want more adult ballet content in between episodes, come hang out with me on Instagram @thebusybunhead. See you next week after class.